Todos jugamos con Lego de niño, era fácil, era un clic y listo. Pero adultos nos dijeron que construir era sucio, lento y difícil. Y hoy conocemos al carpintero que se negó a aceptar eso y creó el sistema que permite levantar una casa estructural con la misma facilidad que un juguete. La casa Lego existe y es de madera. Hola madereros, bienvenido a Madera que Construye. Hoy tenemos a Peter Frandsen de CLT Factory, es la mente técnica detrás de Klik Klik Walls. Su promesa, 2 personas pueden montar los muros de una casa en un solo día, sin grúas, sin tornillos. Peter, bienvenido. Tu frase favorita es, queríamos hacerlo como un Lego, pero una cosa es encajar bloques de plástico y otra sostener un techo. ¿Cómo lograste llevar la simplicidad de un juguete a una ingeniería estructural que cumple con todas las normas?
Oh, it's all started with I'm educated carpenter myself and also educated engineer. It all started with that I started to work with cross-laminated timber, the bigger structures of CLT. I was sitting together with the Stark Group, one of the biggest delivery shops in Europe for building material, and I said to them that they have to get started to use the CLT into their shops, and the answer there was no, because they could not have it in the shops. It was like concrete elements or whatever. So then I was driving home from there. I was sitting thinking about how do we do this? And so, because the cross-laminated timber fits very well in the building industry, but we need to have it downscaled so it can be used by more smaller units, smaller companies, by do-it-yourself people, and so on. And then I was thinking back what I did when I was young. And when I was young, on the building side, and I was working as a carpenter, we put up some light concrete walls out of elements. And I was thinking we had to do something like that. So when I came home, I called my partner in Riga in Latvia, and I said it to him, and we have an idea here. I said develop we have to develop a kind of a Lego, I said, where we can use the same blocks again and again and again. And it has to be sustainable, and it has to be so it can be disassembled. And he kind of liked the idea, and we met. And we met in Riga together with a wood artist, actually, that was used to make furnitures of wood. And we drank a couple of beers, and when you get a beer, you can get a little bit more creative. So we drank a couple of beers with him, and we were sitting there. He took out some old books about connections, and from there we started to develop the whole idea that we need to have this kind of a system that can be used again and again and again. And this was actually what happened there. And yeah, today we have it. We have the system. So it's now. We did it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Peter, hablando de rapidez y dejar un legado, y sobre todo de hacer la promesa en un día, ¿es verdad que el muro queda terminado apenas se instala o se eliminó al pintor y al yesero de la ecuación? Antes de seguir con nuestra conversación, quiero hacer una pequeña pausa para contarte algo que te va a interesar si trabajas con madera. Sabemos que ser constructor, ferretero, mueblista en Chile no es fácil. El precio de la madera sube, baja y cambia todas las semanas. Y muchas veces cuesta mucho encontrar proveedores confiables que te den buenos plazos y productos de calidad. Aunque la madera es un recurso estratégico, menos del 20% de las nuevas viviendas en Chile lo utilizan como protagonista. Esto se convierte en una tremenda oportunidad de crecimiento. No solo acá, en el mundo entero la construcción de la madera va en alza y se proyecta que en la próxima década se duplique la cantidad de viviendas hechas en madera. Por eso, en Ferramenta te queremos ofrecer madera al por mayor, asesoría directa, despacho rápido y una línea de crédito. Y además, una caja de muestra gratis para que puedas ver, tocar antes de comprar. Si vendes, construyes o fabricas en madera, esto es para ti. Haz crecer tu negocio con nosotros. Pide tu caja de muestra a costo cero y escríbenos en WhatsApp o www.ferramenta.cl. Y no te quito más tiempo. Sigamos con nuestra conversación aquí en Madera que construye, donde la madera no solo transforma, también inspira.
Yeah, we have here a material. The cross-laminated timber is a material that is very easy to work with if you understand it. Of course, it's wooden surfaces, but we finish it totally to a quality, so its surfaces in the house is kind of ready. You don't have to work with any other things on it, but of course it is a wooden surface, so if you want to, you can paint it or give it an oil or whatever, but the system is developed so once it's set up, the wall is finished. So you can say it's the fastest possible way to build a wall in the world. When you have designed the system and the system is designed, then you can design your house, and this we help you with and do the details, and we send you the elements, and you just click them on place, and so put them up and put the wedges in, and the wall is finished. And it takes 5 minutes to place an element, and then you can continue. To build a drywall, you have to install some wooden frame first of all, and cut it and measure it and put it on place, and then you have to put the drywall, the gyps plates on the one side with a lot of screw, and then you have to maybe fill in some insulation and electric work, or you have to fill in whatever in the walls, some plumbing work, and you have to put on the other side, you have to put some gypsum plates, and when you finish with all this, we are long down the hallway. We are around the corner with our walls because it goes so much faster. And then when you're finished with the drywall on this stage, you have to call the painter. He has to come to start sparkling and paint it. So this is very simple. It goes in a ratio to what times you're using for doing a drywall. This is approximately 10 times faster in building.
Wow, very fast.
Very.
¿Realmente puedo armar mi casa solo con un martillo de goma sin taladros ni tornillos?
It's not the entire house. You can assemble the elements without any screws. Elements has to be fixed to the foundation, to the ground, and you also again have to fix the roof thrusters. But the elements is based on that you can assemble them and disassemble them without screws. Working with some wedges, you are sinking down in the connection, 2 wedges. Take the first one with the thick end first, sink it down, and then the other wedge you sink down, and then you have it's not a rubber mallet, it's a wooden mallet, for to be exact, and then you simply knock down this wedge, and the connection will just be stronger and stronger. And when the wedges are very close to knocked totally down, you simply cut them off and continue with the next element. They are standing solid and they can take all the loads necessary for up to 2 storage, wind loads, snow loads, whatever it's designed for.
Dice que esto está pensado para que puedas entenderlo y trabajar nada más de sacarlo a la caja. ¿Un carpintero tradicional chileno podría armar esto sin una capacitación compleja?
Yes, it's not a problem at all because it is like when you go and buy a box of Lego in the local toy store. There is a exact description on it, and it is very simple. We have 16 elements. When we do the design of the house, we will do a 3D design and assembly drawings, and where we show the different elements in the different color codes. And also we have on our homepage a workbook, like in IKEA. You know, when you buy IKEA furniture, have a workbook there. You can go in and see
Okay.
that shows how to do it. On the drawings, it's mentioned very clearly. Element number 1 has to be here. It is blue. And when you go to the elements and unpack them, there is a blue label, and as mentioned, this is element number 1. So you can say it's kind of it's designed to be understood by the people on the building site. It's also designed to avoid mistakes. It's not possible to do it wrong. If you follow the color code and the drawing and the logic sense of a carpenter, then it's not possible. You shall not start your saw or anything or cut anything. Everything's there. Everything is correct. It's just to start from a corner.
Wow. O sea, realmente es como Lego. Peter lo sabe muy bien, la precisión es clave. Para que un sistema de encaje funcione, la madera debe ser perfecta. Y en Ferramenta somos tu aliado. Abastecemos a constructoras y ferreterías con madera estructural y tableros calibrados de grado de exportación. y usa el 5% de descuento en tu primera compra. Tú pones el diseño, nosotros la madera.
Ok.
Peter, cuéntanos por qué la madera. ¿Es el CLT el único material capaz de hacer este sistema de clic?
I'm not sure about that. We had to choose. We had to choose a product that was highly sustainable. That means that it has to be biogenic. It has to be coming out of something that kind of reproduces. So we looked that way, and then it also had to have the stability to be used construction-wise. And this has a cross-laminated timber, so the CLT has this stability. It's only have the weight of a fifth part, also 20% of a concrete wall. It has approximately the same strength. So for us, it was a natural product to use. We need to be sustainable and we need to have the stability. So all these things fits into the cross-laminated timber, the CLTs. Easy for us to go that way. We have not been looking in any direction of steel or concrete or plastic or petrochemical industry or anything else. We wanted to be in the sustainable part of it. For us, it has been very essential that we are in the sustainable part of it, and so we have not been looking of other products, but it is maybe possible to do it out of some plastic or steel or whatever. I don't see the reason to do it. It is like it is. Of course, somebody else has also good ideas, but we stay sustainable.
Nice. Peter, tú dices que el CLT dura más de 100 años. ¿Estamos construyendo casas para toda la vida?
Yeah, you can say so. We have been looking into the history of wood in construction. And if you look at the wood in construction generally and see the wood that's used in construction, if it is not exposed for the sun and it is not exposed for moisture or water, it lasts for hundred of years. That means if it is in a protected environment, wood will last again and again. And that's also why we say it's designed for more than one life. And also we have this saying that it's your grandchildren will love you. At the same time, we have made it so that it is easy to disassemble and use again. It's if you look at old buildings, all over the world, especially in Scandinavia, and we have a long tradition for building of wood. And there's houses here that's 300, 400, 500 years old and still standing. And we have exactly the same possibilities for this product we're using here today. If it's kept and maintained, nice, no moisture, no sun, it's also there in 100 years, for sure.
Genial, más de 5 generaciones utilizando la misma casa. Dejar la madera a la vista en el interior, ¿cómo cambia la sensación de vivir ahí comparado con una casa de yeso, de cartón, fría?
Oh, it's totally different. So you can actually only say it by testing it. We built a hotel a couple of years ago with cross-laminated timber, and the main entrepreneur there was traditionally concrete. And when the hotel was upstanding as a row house, I was up there visiting the building site, and this guy, he took me inside the house, and he was kind of thrilled about it because he was used to concrete, and he said, "Peter, this is so much more friendly to come in this house." And he said it friendly because a concrete wall or a gypsum wall is kind of dead and cold, and when you come into a wooden house, it is a totally other environment. It is friendly and it's warm, and the natural insulation of the wood and the natural aroma, the smells, everything is totally different that come into a plastered house or a concrete house. It is nice to come into a wooden house.
Ok. Peter, ahora vamos a jugar un juego que se llama mito o realidad. Yo te diré una frase y tú me dices si es mito o realidad. ¿Necesita una grúa torre para mover e instalar estos paneles?
No, we have designed it so it's actually possible to assemble for a few persons. Once unloaded on the building site, so it has to come to the building site, and it's of course with a truck for some reason or a load carrier. And then when it's unloaded on the building site, it's in packages on size where 2 to 3 guys can lift each element and put it down on the place. The cranes has nothing to do on the building site. So we simply assemble by hand and very few tools.
A lot of wood is wasted when cutting these pieces in the factory, myth or reality?
This is also a myth because we are using actually every little part of it here. The cutouts we do for doing this connection in between, these cutouts are used to do also in the production. We use it as a foot sill where we place the CLT Klik Klik Wall elements on, and we use it also as a top frame before you put your roof thrusters. Even our pallets, our transport pallets, we are doing out of these extra material that is for cutouts. So when you come down to the pallets to the bottom of the package, you disassemble your pallets and use the wood in the pallets into your building project. So the waste on our production goes with to the building site, and on the building site, it's used into the production of the project. So the waste is very, very small. You can bring it home if you want and put it in your fireplace, these small pieces there'll be, but there's no need for containers on the building site and to bring waste. It's not happening there.
Si quiero cambiar un cable eléctrico en el futuro, ¿tengo que romper el muro, mito o realidad?
You don't have to break the wall, so it's also a myth. We have been designing an element, a technical element, element number 16, and there is a recess for electric cables in it, and there is a lid. So that also means if you want to extend some more electricity in your house, you simply have these technical elements placed after your design where you need electricity. You can take off this lid and you can take out cables or you can put in cables. That also means, again, when you disassemble the house in some years, let's say 50 years from now, you simply take the electric cable, roll them up and use them in the next project. They're not poured in with concrete or anything. They're just lying there waiting for you to come and take them out again.
¿Esta tecnología solo sirve para cabañas de verano, no para casas reales? ¿Mito o realidad?
This is also a myth. It's meant for all year houses. It's meant for summer houses. You can do a sauna. You can do exactly whatever you want because it's a load-bearing structure and also separation walls inside the house. Of course, depending on where you are and the heat loss calculation you have to do for your house, you have to have an outer kind of protection against the weather, against the cold, and against the rain and snow. And all these things can be done basically like you always have. It can be brick walls, it can be steel plates, it can be wooden panels on the outside. It can be summer house, it can be all year house, it can be whatever you want.
¿Este es el fin de la demolición y el inicio del desmontaje?
The house is designed for disassembly, which means that after some years, if you, for example, you have an area around the city where you have the use you need for elderly people, you can build some or social. You can build some small houses there, and you can say after this 30 years, these elderly people or the social people that has been living in the houses, there's not more need for that. And there come young people in this area, and you, for example, need a kindergarten for kids or whatever. The houses can easily be disassembled again. It's just to take away the construction and take out the wedges. You open the wedges like you open a good bottle of wine, and so just drag them up from the top. And then you take the elements one by one and stack them. The elements are still the same that there was in the element library when you built the house. And now you know you have 30 houses, you know you have so and so much elements of this and of this and of this. And based on this, you can assemble again a kindergarten, a school, or 3 bigger houses, or whatever. So it's designed to be reused again and again and again, and it change the shape. Not the element will change the shape, but the project. So it can be, for example, 3 small houses are getting to a bigger house, or 20 houses are getting into a school project, depending on the design and the architecture they're sitting working.
Nice. Peter, ustedes ya enviaron casas a Corea del Sur. ¿Ves posible enviar estos kits a Chile?
Yes, it's absolutely no problem. You can say in the very beginning, when we opened our web page, there was an entrepreneur from South Korea that was sitting searching for sustainable ways. He jumped over our web page and he sent me an email if he could use these elements on his project in South Korea. I asked him to send me some drawings. We got the drawings. We gave him an offer and made some simple drawings for him so he could understand what he needed. And he wanted to buy and test it out. Because he was from South Korea, had to ask about the payments because we were not so happy to send 2 houses to South Korea to a client we didn't know, but he trusted us and sent the money, and then we had to pack it in containers. It was very successful. He built the 2 houses, and there was absolutely no problems. Even the transport cost to pack a container, a ship container, a 40-foot container where it fits in perfectly, are lower than driving it around in Europe on lorries or trucks. So it was cheaper for us to send from our production site to South Korea than drive it a half a day or a day to a building site with a truck. So it's fully possible. You can say the potential of develop this and sell it all over the world is there. So it's absolutely not a problem.
Peter, tienen una aplicación donde te sientas con una copa de vino y diseñas tu casa. ¿Crees que el futuro es que el cliente diseñe sin intermediarios?
Yeah, you can say this application. Yeah, first of all, you don't have to drink wine when you do it, but it can it can be a cup of coffee or tea. But we have an application on our homepage where you can sit and play a little with it and see what comes out of. Based on this, we can of course we'll come back to you with more specific drawings for the projects we do the design of. So whatever is implicit in the price and in the work we do. So our application is meant for people to get inspired. Then they can sit there and work with it, of course, drink a glass of wine, and when they have designed the layout they want for the house, download it and send it to us again and ask for a price quote. So we have it there, so you can do that.
Peter, llevas 40 años en la madera. ¿Qué le dices a los jóvenes constructores que creen que la tecnología matará al oficio?
Yes, I have been here in 40 years and I have seen the developing and the developing in the building industry, unfortunately, goes slow. If you compare it to other industries, it goes slow. We have the need of housing, and we need to have constructions around us. I'll say to young people today that they shall not be afraid of diving into this industry. It's an industry that will be there and it will stay there. Of course, it will be more and more industrialized in the production. It's the same here. We are upscaling these products so it can be produced in a better way and pre-produced away from the building site, but there'll still be need for people that know how to do it on the site and know the materials. So today I'll not be afraid of going into the building industry, not at all. On the other hand, if people go into this building industry and are interested in it, there's a lot of opportunity. I started as a carpenter, and this I'm not doing anymore, only on a hobby basis, do these kind of things. But it leads the way to a lot of things, and if you are interested, then there's a
¿Cómo te imaginas la ciudad del futuro? ¿Todo será desmontable?
I'm pretty sure that more and more products will be dismantleable. Only have one Earth to live on, and to use the resources. As I mean, when you dig a hole to get some soil or sand, the hole is still there. So you dig a new hole next to it, and the new hole will still be there. When you use, first of all, materials that regenerate themselves, as a wood, for example, you use it in a form where it can be dismantled and used again. this will be the future. This is solving, you can say, a lot of the problems we're looking into at the moment. And you can say, today we have a price of a wall, of a Klik Klik wall, that costs, when you disassemble it and use it again, and disassemble it and use it again, and disassemble it and use it again, it will be the cheapest way to build, no matter what you compare to. This Lego brick you bought for your kids or your grandkids or whatever 20 or 40 years ago is still the same Lego brick you're using. So you paid for it one time 40 years ago, but it still has the same function. So that there will be more and more reusable and things that can be dismantled again. If you take a drywall, we were talking about a drywall here a little while ago. If you want to disassemble a drywall, you'll stand with a lot of fragments of the gypsum plates, and you will stay with some pieces of wood that is cut in different lengths. What can you use that for? The gypsum plates can be brought back to the kitchen and be, in the process, manufactured there and sent back to the building site. But this process is not cost-effective. It costs a lot of energy and it costs a lot of transport, and it will be brought back to the building site with a lot of resources used. The wood you have there in the drywall is cut in different lengths. If it is construction wood and you have had a nail or a screw in it, you're not allowed to use it as construction wood anymore because you can't calculate it now because it has been penetrated. So, when you use a Klik, you simply take and disassemble it, stack it, and assemble it again. And that's why I say it's the best way to use our resources. We can use them again and again and again and again. And this we have to look in. At the moment when you build the drywall, yes, it might be a little cheaper, but the first time you have to break it, it's much more expensive than the Klik Klik. So you have to look with the long glasses here, so the long time use. And if you look out, let's say, I'm not here at that time. If you look out some 200-300 years, if it is possible that people still will use the system, and we can't do it better.
Totalmente de acuerdo. Peter, convertiste la construcción en algo simple. Si tuvieras que definir la madera en una sola palabra, ¿cuál sería y por qué?
The first single word that pops up in my mind is future. The future. It is the future. Material. It can also be other materials, but of course I'm focused on this because it's my child and that's what I'm working with. But I see it as a material we can use, as we have talked about before, again and again and again. So that's why I say the future. The wood is the future. It regenerates itself when you cut down a tree out in the forest and you bring it into the sawmill. You plant a new tree, and if you don't plant a new tree, then nature will do it himself. It will grow a new tree there one day from the seeds from the old tree. So this is continuous. It's not like when you dig a hole to get out the soil and sand. The hole is not there. So it must be future. It's the best word I can find for it.
Totalmente de acuerdo, Peter. Gracias, Peter. Desde Ferramenta agradecemos tu tiempo. Y a ustedes, gracias por acompañarnos. Nunca dejan de jugar, ni siquiera cuando construyan. Esto fue Madera que construye, donde la madera no solo transforma, también inspira.